Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Midnight's Edge After Dark. We are coming to you live on tape from various locations. I am joined, as always, by Mr. Tom Connors. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks, Rob. How about yourself?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you very much. And I am, of course, your narrator supreme, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, coming to you from Shabby Road Studios. And with us today, thank you very much for joining us, is André.
Hey.
Our big cheese, the big kahuna, the mastermind behind Midnight's Edge.
The leader.
Yes, the grand poobah, and what other Flintstone-y adjectives we can think of for him. So
everybody's been wanting Andre to come on the show, and we finally got a chance to work it into a schedule. And of course, everybody else has also been wondering, what did we think of the third episode of the Orville?
I'm caught up with the Orville. I saw episode 3 just an hour ago. Rob, what do you think so far?
I thought this was the best episode yet.
I loved it.
I thought it was. I swear, I'm like, if I didn't know better, I was watching an episode of The Next Generation.
Oh, shit,
right? Really I was thinking the same thing. Like, holy shit! This not only is it Star Trek, this is Star Trek: The Next Generation. After that,
right.
And it just gets better and better for each passing episode.
Yeah, because you didn't even like the first one, Andre. You were like, it was all right.
Yeah, I know the first one, that was alright, didn't love it. The second one, oh yeah, now we're talking, this is getting somewhere. The third one, holy shit, now we got it, now we have a show.
And like, I keep saying, I don't understand where these bad reviews are coming from, I really don't.
No, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about, like that was...
Well,
I hate to be the one who talk about like paid reviews and everything, but you've seen how CBS are, right? You've seen it now.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, there's two things working here. Well, first of all, I think there's a lot of people who are feeling that they have. I don't want to say that they have to stand up for Star Trek Discovery, but I think there is some influence there that CBS is having over certain critics. You know, you give them a goodie bag, you give them interviews. You know, they're not being paid off, but they're being swayed.
Yeah,
that's my thing. You know, there's press junkets, and you know all about the press junkets, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's the press junkets. How would you like an interview with the stars? You can schmooze with critics. You can win them over. But the other thing is, too, critics hate Seth MacFarlane. They always have. They've hated him since Family Guy was first on Fox.
Yeah.
They hate American Dad. They hate Million Days to Die in the West. They hate Ted. They hate Ted 2. They hate everything he does because they feel, oh, well, it's such lowbrow humor. Fuck you. It's funny. That's what this is.
And I disagree. I don't think it's lowbrow even. I think it's... really intelligent for the most part.
I think it's smartly. I think his stuff is very smartly done.
I think there's an argument for both sides. To me, like there's some times where he goes for some cheap ones that are like, okay, that's one I would have cut out because there's always 2 or 3 jokes that come after that are very intelligent and clever, and then he'll throw in some like stupid joke after 2 real good ones.
That was my issue with the first episode. There were too many one-liners, and they just fell flat.
That's a perfect example. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Otherwise, I think he's very intelligent. I think he's a very clever writer. Obviously, he's a very talented comedian. It's just, I don't click with a lot of his stuff. I do understand why other people like it, but I do see in that first episode where there was issues. Since then, the second and third, this newest episode, I've loved them. I never would have thought I would have said that about anything that Seth MacFarlane made because I never really clicked with his humor before, but he's put so much love and devotion into the show beyond the humor. The humor's secondary now.
Yeah, I agree completely. And that's what I like about, this is the real Star Trek now. It's the Orville. That's the real Star Trek series.
And the other thing, too, is that Seth MacFarlane can do so many different things. He can do stand-up. He can act. He can sing. He can write. You know, he can produce. I read one piece about the Orville where it says, oh, Cosmos didn't work. Did you ever see Cosmos, the series a couple years ago with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like... No, Cosmos absolutely fucking worked. Cosmos was awesome.
And it was fantastic. Someone did not like Cosmos?
Yeah, there was one critic I worked for the Slate. But I think there's a lot of people that are going to make excuses for Discovery, and they're going to...
of course.
And they're going to take... And if it's not good, they're going to take it out on the Orville. And I hope fans say, fuck you. I like where this is going.
Yeah. This is the same story as Batman v Superman and Green Lantern and all of that all over again. It's the same basic strategy.
Mm-hmm.
No public screenings, none whatsoever. Embargo till day of release, or even the hour of release. And then you have this really, really controlled environment where people are then allowed to tweet. and say what they want. And it's the previous Star Trek cast, like Nicole DeBoer.
Yeah, whose name I could not place for a while because I had fallen out of Deep Space. I had fallen out of Deep Space Nine. Like I fell out of Deep Space Nine after a few seasons. I'm like I couldn't place the name. And by the time I'm like, hey, who the hell is this? I was like, and I didn't see the whole thing with Dax and the trill and the transition.
I know, but the horror is that if you fell out after a few seasons, then you saw all the shit Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, yeah.
And you didn't see any of the good Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Because I had to suffer my way through the first 3 seasons. And then it doesn't really get good until season 4. That's when it gets interesting. Like the first 3 seasons, you can wipe your ass with, basically.
Oh, okay. I pulled it up on the on my channel guide here. 8:30 Star Trek Discovery, the Vulcan Hello.
Yep, somebody posted that on Facebook earlier.
I'm gonna DVR it just so, like, in case something happens, I can go back and say, "Wait a minute, did that just happen?"
So yeah, I guess just to point this out, while we're all kind of having a powwow here with Andre, and why we're doing this early is Star Trek Discovery is premiering tonight, so we're all going to watch it, and then we're going to reconvene, and we're going to do a roundtable for the main channel. Of course, we'll put post the link down below when that's up. But yeah, so that's what's going on here, in case you're wondering. I just thought I might want to put that in there somewhere. And as far as the news goes for the week, we'll probably cover that more so in the Thursday show. But this is just kind of a fun kind of thing we're having here.
It's like a Star Trek Discovery pre-game, really.
At least you get our views on the Orville for now. We all love it so far. So,
barring any unforeseen acts of stupidity on the part of Fox, we all love the Orville so far, and it keeps getting better.
Fox has actually done one act of stupidity. They moved the show to Thursday, and I read the ratings, and I don't know exactly what they are, but they plummeted.
Like 4 million, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. They plummeted, which is a shame because Thursday's episode, the 3rd episode, was the best one yet by a mile. As you will recall, I did not like the first episode all that much. Was not sold. Second one, yeah, they were getting somewhere, but third one, that's Star Trek right there.
Yeah, and I think we all agree there.
Up until like January, there's really no good night to put it on. I mean, you put it on Sunday, it's going to be up against Sunday Night Football. You put it on Thursday, it's going to be up against Thursday Night Football.
The sad part was it was doing very well in the slot it was doing right now. So I don't know. I mean, in the age of DVR and the fact that it was very strong on their Fox Online where they could stream it, it was doing great numbers there too. So I don't understand how they're not having more faith in this already, considering, okay, they're going to see this drop off. It makes me wonder how they're going to view this. Are they really going to take the blame and say, oh, we shouldn't have moved it to Thursdays? Or are they just going to say, it wasn't as good as everybody thought it was?
That's what worries me, because that's what they're likely to do. Move something around and see, whoa, the audience didn't follow. Well, guess this show isn't a hit, so we better cancel it then. And they cancel like 7 out of 10 shows. So everything that is not a massive hit out the gate and stays that way, even when they move it around, gets cancelled. So that's kind of like begging for problems. That's the beauty with series like Netflix and stuff. You don't have to deal with that.
Speaking of Netflix, did you guys see the Punisher trailer?
Oh, yeah. Lots of people are going to die. That's what I'm seeing here.
Well, this is what I've been waiting for. That's all I can say on that.
Yeah, me too. I've been dying for a high-end Punisher series for the last 17 years. Literally, since I read Welcome Back Frankie in the year 2000. So this was a long time coming. So, guys, what do you think about the footage you saw?
It actually gave me a chill. It really did. It was one of those things that really it sets it up beautifully with the scenes of the family at the beginning, and then you just feel this whole world being torn apart. It really kind of lets you know that this guy is not a hero. He's not really a hero. He's a man he's trying to put things right the only way he can, the only way he knows how. If you understand what I mean. I mean, it just, like I said, it sets it up beautifully, and then there's this jarring part of it that snaps you back into his reality, you know?
Well, he's very unapologetically who he is. He knows exactly what he's out for.
But like I said, there's ideal vision you have of his life, and then bang, not to be punny, but and then there's, like I said, there's this transition. I'm like, this is why he is the Punisher. So, and we're gonna see exactly, heads are gonna roll. Let's just put it that way.
And what I was getting to is like,
roll.
Before they've always tried to make him an anti-hero. Yeah, in the Dolph Lundgren version, in the Thomas Jane version, even in the Punisher Warzone, that was probably the closest yet to, but it still had that element. And we already know from what we've seen in Daredevil season 2, the Punisher we're getting, and that's the Punisher I've always wanted. And now I actually see that they put it together to where we actually get to see his origin story. It looks so cinematic and perfect. What I've envisioned all these years later, through all the years of knowing this character and wanting to see him done justice, it finally looks like it's going to happen, and I'm so glad.
He's quite literally a man with nothing left to lose.
Right, like I said, he's just unapologetically out for his one purpose and his one goal. He doesn't give a shit about anything else other than that, and he's not trying to be some hero. He's just got his purpose, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and there is my issue with it. Because let me begin by saying that I'm a huge fan of Bernthald's portrayal. I'm a huge fan of what we see of the acting, of the lighting, the staging, obviously the violence, and that they don't have any reluctance or anything. But I do have some trepidation story-wise, because as you may be aware, I happen to be a huge fan of the Punisher. And I don't think he's ever been done justice on film.
No.
Certainly not in the 1989 movie starring Dolph Lundgren, not in the 2004 movie starring Thomas Jane, even though that was a much better standalone movie. The closest one we have in terms of comic book fidelity is actually Punisher Warzone with Ray Stevenson. Right. But that movie had tonal issues of its own. But so many say that this is the definitive Punisher, and it certainly looks to be the best Punisher so far. But to me, it looks to have gone into the same trap as the 2004 movie, which is basically that his origin is some kind of like conspiracy, that he was a target for something he did or did not do, and some drug ring and more people were involved, and we saw some of that in season 2 of Daredevil, and that was the only thing I did not like, because it really mucks with the Punisher's reason for existing and his entire motivation for being the Punisher. Because if there was this conspiracy that he has to unfold behind the death of the family, well, that means that once he has killed his way up the chain, then why would he go after everyone else? Frank Castle's whole shtick isn't that he killed the people who killed his family, because in the comics, the people who killed his family, every last one of them, like everyone, are dead, and they have been dead for ages. But he still carries on his war against crime. Why? Well, that's because his family were completely and totally random victims of crime. If it hadn't been them that day, it would have been another family. And if it hadn't been those shooters, if it hadn't been that mobster family, it would have been another mobster family. It would have been someone else. There was like some randomness. It was a randomness caused by crime, which is why he declares war on crime and all criminals, and not just those directly responsible for the death of his family. And here they go on with that, this conspiracy to be uncovered. But that's not really what the Punisher's about. He got that thing sorted in his first year of existence, and then he's continued the war. Because crime was ultimately at fault here. And here, like in the 2004 movie, no, crime is seemingly not to blame. Corrupt government officials are. Your own people that you're working with are to blame. And then suddenly, where's the reason for being the Punisher?
I completely agree on everything you just said, and that's what I was, like I said, getting to before, as far as we've never really been given a really good representation. For every representation we've been given, there's bits and pieces you can say, yeah, that's right, but there's so much that's not. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Warzone is the prime example of that,
right.
Because there, his reason for being the Punisher is spot on. But then it had the tonal issues and the worst villains ever put on film that render every scene they are in unwatchable.
Yes.
And that's basically just detracts from the movie so much that you can't see the villains because it's just a chore to watch whenever they're on screen. But for that reason, I'm excited for this series. So regardless of my trepidation there, I'm still really looking forward to it. But that is a trepidation I have, that they, yet again, appear to have misunderstood why the Punisher is doing what he does. Unless they might find a way to fix it in the series, because the important thing is that he transition to declaring war on criminals and killing all criminals. Because until he does that, he's not the Punisher.
Yeah, well, again, that remains to be seen. They'll probably, I don't want to say they'll concoct a reason, but afterwards, I mean, it's going to become a question of him trying to find a purpose.
Rob, you are right. Then they suddenly find themselves in a situation where they have to concoct a reason for him to declare war on everyone else involved in crime, when those responsible for the death of his family are done for. Remember, they already did that in the 2004 movie. It was towards the end there. When he's killed everyone, the Saints are all dead, and the shooters are all dead, everyone is dead. And then he's about to kill himself, which is the ending that makes sense. Because now his purpose is all done. He has no further reason for existing, save possibly to go with his neighbor woman, because what he thinks about is the happy memories with his wife. Now here, two endings are logically possible. One is that he carries on killing himself, or that he decides to move on and go with the neighbor woman. But instead, he randomly, completely out of the blue, decides that he's going to keep on killing rapists and killers and torturers. And this hasn't been led into in any way whatsoever. There's been absolutely no setup in the movie. It just came completely out of the blue, like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. They never did anything to me. Like, no criminals had, or no killers, no rapists, none of them had anything to do with the death of his family. That was his corrupt partner and a money launderer who took revenge on a sting that he himself botched.
Yeah, well, the guy who's in the battle van, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Backrack, microchip in the comics, and is played by Backrack or something.
Yeah, I mean, I got a feeling they're gonna work it so that, hey Frank, we can do a lot of good here.
Work with me.
I hate to think of it, it'll come down to something like that, but
I'd hate that too, but we'll see how it goes. As long as it ends with him declaring war on all criminals, and we can get some of the proper Punisher storylines, like Slavers first and foremost. That's a movie right there. That's the best comic book movie never made. So yeah, that's what I want out of it. Just set up for a proper Punisher series in which there's no more conspiracy, there's no more wondering about who killed his family. That chapter is closed. Now he can go into his proper lifestyle as the Punisher, killing all criminals. The Jason Voorhees, the boogeyman of any random criminal.
It's like I Am Legend. He's criminal's legend, sort of.
Exactly. Not just a legend of corrupt officials and the FBI and everyone else who wants to take him down because he knows a little bit too much. He shouldn't be there, boogeyman. He should be there. Yeah, this guy is nice to have, so we're going to look the other way. Well, he just makes our job a little bit easier. That should be the relationship right there. While he should be the boogeyman of every random drug dealer there is.
So yeah, tune in tomorrow to Midnight's Edge of the main page, and you'll get to check out that round table, and hopefully you enjoyed this powwow with Andre with us here on After Dark. We know you guys have been wanting to hear from him more often, so hopefully you enjoyed this. I know we didn't get into much news. There hasn't really been a lot to talk about lately, other than the whole Darth Vader thing, which, I mean, it doesn't surprise any of us, I don't think, at this point, considering I kind of assumed they would probably work in a cameo of Darth Vader. What did you think, Rob? Probably the same thing.
Wait. What about Darth Vader now?
And Han Solo.
Oh, you ruined it for me. Damn. Okay. No. Yeah. That's one of those duh moments, really.
Right. Yeah. Andre.
Of course, he's gonna be in Han Solo. Was there ever any doubt?
No, exactly.
Like in every single anthology movie taking place around the era of the original trilogy, Darth Vader is going to be there. no reason
some
to even
presence.
question it.
Yeah, it's kind of why we didn't bring up the story to begin with. And I had a few people bring it up in the comments, so we did bring it up. There you go. So yeah, we'll do the box office and all that stuff on Thursday. I really want to thank Andre for his time and taking his time out to join us here on Midnight's Edge After Dark. Rob, did you have anything to? All right, Rob, did you have anything to say also to finish off the show? Or
Nicole DeBoer.
Yes, we're so sorry that he didn't remember who she was.
Yeah. I'm sorry, everybody. But I fell out of Deep Space Nine after the first few seasons. So.
But keep an eye out for our special Star Trek Discovery Roundtable at the main channel featuring myself, Tom Connors, and Andre. And we're going to be giving you all our thoughts on the premiere of Star Trek Discovery and how we liked it, what we didn't like, if we did like it, and what we thought of it. And please don't forget to subscribe to Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark. And we encourage you to hit that bell icon. That way you'll be updated whenever new content is uploaded. And if you like what we do here at Midnight's Edge, please consider supporting the show through Patreon. Your support on Patreon helps us make the show better. And as a patron, you'll receive exclusive content, such as behind-the-scenes documentaries, the making of Midnight's Edge, and early access to special mini-documentaries and outtakes as well. So one more time for Tom Connors, for Andre, and for myself, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, your narrator supreme, we will catch you next time.